How you doing? Coming to you live, well, recorded from my back porch. Thought I'd give you a little bit of help reviewing for your first test. And you're probably thinking to yourself, I don't need this, but I'm going to pump you up and get you ready for your first test. I'm going to share with you some preparation do's and don'ts, some things that might be helpful. Talk to you about a study plan, even though you probably think you don't need one. How to use your review guides and textbook, the mastering questions, some practice, and even talk to you about some of the top 2 mistakes people make on the short answer questions. So I'll make this worth your while so that you'll get some benefit from this. First, some do's and don'ts. Some of the do's are going to seem very obvious to you, but humor me. Do focus on areas that you have not done well first, and then look at other topics. This is just diagnosing your illness. If you didn't understand population biology very well or didn't understand age structures, don't wait until the end and then do those sections. You focus on those first. Develop a study plan. Be realistic with how much time you have to study between now and the test and divide it up. Give yourself some time off, and we'll discuss that here in a second. Do take advantage of your SI and STEM lab resources. That's why we have them for you. Please take advantage of them. You know, Monique and Justin want to help. Please take advantage of them. They will be happy to help you get ready for your test. Come before the test if you have questions. I will be available early. I also have office hours, so please come by if I can help you. This will sound a little silly and a little bit like a parent talking at you, but get a good night's sleep before the test. If you're not sleeping well, you're not thinking clearly, and you'll make silly mistakes if you don't sleep well. And this is another one that has a real biological basis. Be hydrated. Your cells will function better. You'll think better if you drink water or juice before your test. Don't do these things. Don't try to reread whole chapters unless that's how you study best. Rereading stuff that you already understand is going to be a waste of time, so don't focus on things by trying to reread everything all over again. Don't be afraid to ask for help. SI, STEM lab, your instructor, all of us want to help you. Don't expect to do well if you don't prepare. You've been in class, maybe you've enjoyed the conversations, or you thought some of the things we did were kind of funny, but if you don't actually start thinking about this and paying attention to the ideas we did, you're really not going to do well. So I hope that you will take the time and spend the time it's going to require to make sure you master the material. Don't try to watch all the videos again unless you find that's very helpful and that by listening to the videos, those assist you. Otherwise, try to skim back through them just to get the main ideas. That's what I'll be asking about. And don't stress out. It's a biology test. It's not life or death. Keep some perspective, okay? There's multiple tests. This is your first biology test with me, so you may be a little bit unknown or a little bit scary. It's not. I'm going to have it on paper. It'll be very safe. So please don't stress about it. Prepare, but don't stress. So I mentioned a study plan. What's a study plan look like? I mean, this might be the first class you've really had to study or study hard for. What's a plan look like? Try to pre-assess. This is one of the key things that people skip over. What do you already know? What do you feel comfortable with? When you know that, then you can also identify what you don't understand well. And that's really important because, again, that's where you want to spend your time. Determine how much study time that you realistically have. Don't tell me that you're going to study 20 hours between Wednesday and the time of your test. You're not, and that won't impress me if you say that you are. Let's say that you realistically think that you may have 6 hours to study. Well, you want to develop a plan so that you're looking at all the topics and not just starting at the beginning and then running out of time. Gotta get back to my cursor. Prioritize your studying. How much time do you need to spend on areas to make sure that you understand the ones that are most challenging to you? Again, if you understand properties of life, or you understand water, or you understand some of these other areas we did, save those for the very end and then just skim back over them. But the areas you don't understand is where you really want to spend your time. Write it down. Come up with a plan. Write it down. It sounds like it's a little bit OCD, but if you have an index card and you say, on this day, I'm going to do sections 12.1 to 12.4, and then the next day, 12.5 to 12.8, for example, then at least you know you're progressing. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they don't leave themselves enough time, and right behind that for mistakes is they don't have a plan, and then they just start going, and then they don't realize there's a lot they didn't get to before their first test. Stay on schedule. Same idea. Make sure that you stay on your schedule. Even if you have to skip something, come back to it, but try to stay on schedule. Build in some downtime. Spend some time with family. Maybe you don't like your family. Spend some time with some other people's family. But spend some time not thinking about biology. It will help your brain. And try to finish your major studying maybe that Saturday before the first test. Don't try to study up till Sunday night looking at new ideas really, really close to the test because you have a hard time retaining them. If you're done studying Saturday and then Sunday and before the test is just skimming over topics, you will be amazed at how easy it is to learn this stuff. How should you use your review guides and the textbook? At this stage, it's really helpful to use those reading and review guides I mentioned in class to diagnose what you know and what you don't know. Go through, print them out if you want to, and check off the things you understand, and the things that you don't, circle those. Come back to those. Use them as a diagnostic tool. Some of the things I just said. Again, check off what you know, put question marks against the things that you don't know. Try to get through all the review sections because this will help you identify areas that you need to go back and pay attention to. The textbook is a resource. As you've probably already understood, we've skipped around, and that's on purpose. Biology does not go in the order of the textbook, but the book is a resource. If you need to go back and look at the water cycle again, go back and look at the water cycle again. Use the book as a way of filling in the gaps for you, but really rereading a whole textbook when the textbook is not writing your exam is not the smartest way of doing it. Go back to sections that you need to review, and don't spend time on things that you already understand. Look at the diagrams again, especially if you're visual. If you need to go back and look at the water cycle and use your finger and kind of trace where things are going, that might work for you. There are some questions that are sprinkled throughout, not really at the end of the chapters, I need to change that, but they're actually sprinkled throughout the chapters, and those are very helpful in making sure you understand the material we're focused on. About mastering, should I go back and spend time on the mastering questions, and what if you want to practice some more? I'm not going to go back and pull mastering questions and put them on the test. So the idea that you need to go back and memorize those and remember what the answers are to all those questions is really not spending your time well. Use them again to diagnose. If you didn't do well in a particular quiz, you want to go back to that quiz. Answers are available. I've gone back to the Mastering Now and made the answers available, so you should be able to see the answers. And again, don't memorize. Do not use these questions as this is the test, because it won't be. Use your book for practice questions. You can also just do searches for like practice ecology questions or practice population biology questions, and you will find tons and tons and tons. You may find a lot of websites have questions that are much harder than what we've done in this course. They're for biology majors. So you may not necessarily find perfect questions for you, but if you do, basic ecology questions or questions on water, water chemistry, you'll probably find quite a bit. Excuse me. And the more you practice and you look at more questions, the easier it is for you to discern right and wrong. So the more that you practice thinking about biology, the easier this stuff gets. Trust me. Okay, and finally, preparing for short answer questions. There will be some short answer questions on your test. Do not think essay. I'm not going to ask you to write page after page after page, but you may be writing some paragraphs and putting together some thoughts. So how should you do this? First, try to get inside my head. That's kind of a scary place. But think about what I might consider some of the more important themes or ideas. What was emphasized a lot in class? Those are likely short answer topics. So think about that. Try to identify these topics and explain them to your classmates. because if you can, it will help them hear a topic idea, and it will help you kind of like you're pre-writing your short answer question responses. So try to practice that. Hang on, cursor. Okay. How much should you write? Follow the bathing suit rule. And people laugh when I say that, but the bathing suit rule is long enough to cover the subject and short enough to be interesting. Do not write me a long, uninteresting answer. Do not write me one that's way too brief. It might be very interesting, but it's too short. So try to balance that you completely answer the question, because this is one of the mistakes people make. One is to not prepare at all, not to think about short answer questions, and that is a mistake, because if you go through and memorize definitions, you're not going to be ready for the short answer section. And then some people just write incomplete short answers and don't answer the whole question. That's probably the number one mistake. If you do not fully answer the question, then I can't give you full credit. Don't forget for your test to bring a number 2 pencil. Part of your test will be Scantroned, so you need a number 2 pencil. There will probably be a matching section, so don't forget about looking at definitions. You are responsible for all class discussions and all videos. So if you missed a day, you really want to go back and talk to people about what we did. Again, this class is not a fully lecture course, so you can't go back and just get someone's notes. You need to understand what we did. For example, the Westerman Woods simulation in class, the town hall, you need to understand what that was about. You need to understand what we did with the exponential and logistic population simulation, because you will be asked about these. There's going to be a Blackboard assignment. It's available right now. If you're watching this video, you can now access this assignment. It consists of 15 questions, I believe. You can take it as many times as you, well, no, you take it 4 times, rather, 4 times. And do take it all 4 times, because you will see different questions each time, and the more you see questions, the better, and I'm only taking your best score. And you're going to have roughly 70 minutes for the test, so you should have enough time. I'll talk more about the test format when we get to class this coming week. So when you take the test, it's going to be, again, roughly 70 minutes. That should be helpful. Remember that you can do it. This is going to be your first test, but you can do this. If you have any questions, please let me know. And that will do it for this video.